And good evening, this is Bob W6CJX, and I'll be your net control operator for tonight's Papa Great Outdoor Net. This net meets every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific. This is a directed net, so please go through net control at all times, and your cooperation is always greatly appreciated. Stations with emergency or priority traffic can come into the net at any time with a double break, and net control will respond appropriately. The Papa system is an open membership-supported system in the Southern California area with coverage from the Mexican border to Paso Robles and from the Channel Islands to Las Vegas, Nevada. If you're a visitor to the Papa system tonight, I invite you to go to papasys.com, that's Papasys.com, and register as a guest. With your guest registration, you'll have 45 days of free access to the Papa system. At the end of your one-time 45-day guest access period, we'd love for you to become a subscribed member, continue to use the Papa system on a daily basis, and be part of the Papa system family. However, all amateurs are welcome to participate in the daily, weekly, and monthly Papa system nets regardless of their membership status. Again, this is the Papa system, Great Outdoor Net. Good evening. Good Sunday evening to everybody out there. This is Bob W6CJX here, located in Camarillo with the Inside Shack 78. This thing's working, folks. I love this little cooler. I am serious. Most garages don't have air conditioning, and we don't either. But this little evaporating cooler actually brings it down about 3 or 4 degrees. So it's good for me. Hope everyone had a great weekend this weekend. We did. Been busy trying to do some projects, a lot of projects around the house, but that's always kind of good. Get some things done. So before we get into the net, let's head on over to the news department and see what they have for us coming up this next week.
Here is the Papa System weekly calendar for the latest news and upcoming events. The Papa System would like to welcome all guests and visitors. We are Southern California's premier repeater system. The Papa system is a member-supported wide-area amateur radio network of interlinked analog FM, D-Star, DMR, and P25 repeaters. With over 80-plus repeaters, the Papa system is providing extensive coverage of the Southern California region and beyond. The Papa San Diego Luncheon. Papa will be meeting in person on Saturday, August 15th at 11:30 a.m. at Cocina del Charro in San Marcos. Cocina del Charro has arranged for a special buffet, $27, including tax and tip. We will need a minimum of 25 attendees for this price. Please purchase your buffet meal tickets on the Papa website at least 1 week ahead of the luncheon. We will have ham license testing at the San Diego luncheon. Please pre-register on the Papa website and try to arrive before 9:45 a.m. For any questions regarding the test session, please contact Patrick by email, papatesting@live.com. As always, the Papa Quick Start program runs in conjunction with all our test sessions and is a benefit for newly licensed technician class ham radio operators. Please see the Papa website for more information. Newly licensed operators are encouraged to check in on the Papa system Wednesday night New Hams Net with Steve, KI6LOV, at 7 p.m. and let him know if you were part of the Quick Start program. Upcoming future events. The Papa Orange County Luncheon, 11:30 a.m. Saturday, August 22nd, at the Sizzler in Fullerton. 1401 North Harbor Boulevard, Fullerton, California. Special presentation, D-Star in Detail. Joe AK6MB will be presenting D-Star in greater depth and detail for better understanding of this great digital platform. All this information and a whole lot more can be found on the Papa System emails and on the Papa website at papasys.com.
papasys.com. That's where you can find all the information for testing and the events that we're having and pictures from the past. You can also look those up there. And, of course, the archives for this net. If you're interested in hearing what maybe you sound like on the radio, go back and listen to those, or just go back and listen to them. I use them to put me to sleep at night. It works quite well. W6CJX for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net, Sunday evening here on the mighty Papa System. All righty, I got that going. Let's see, we do have the San Diego Luncheon, so make sure you get your reservations in there or pay for your buffet. I think they're still doing all that. So that sounds like fun. I wish we were just a little bit closer. We would definitely head down there because it's one of Carolyn's favorite types of food too, and I also mine. So it would work out just fine. Okay, well, with that, let's see if we have a trail report tonight. I do believe we do. I think Mr. Steve had gone out to the cabin this weekend, so let's see what he has to report for us tonight. KI6LOV, I'm handing the microphone over to you.
WD6LZA, can I sneak in before Steve, please?
Well, absolutely, of course. Go ahead, stand by, Steve.
Thank you. Couple of things, probably three things. Probably the most important part is a correction that I thought was going to get taken care of, but it didn't. There's been a change at the Cocina del Charro. No longer are we having a buffet. It's a single check from now on, but we still are requesting folks that are planning to come to the Cocina del Charro luncheon, please RSVP. Last month we had 15 RSVP and 32 people showed up, and it was a new waitress, and it was a total fiasco. So if you know you're coming, it'd be nice if you could let us know. It would be nice if you could let everybody know. I'm sure that everybody that's heading up the luncheons and the breakfast likes to get that over to the management. So you can go to the website, do an RSVP, but the buffet is no longer going to be available. Single check, and it works out better. The pricing is a little bit less, and then you can select from a huge menu what you want to eat. The other thing is that our great supporter, KJ6UVT, is upgrading all of the Anytone handhelds that are going to be raffled off to the new model, the 890. And I went out and bought one. It's a great new little handheld. It does DMR and DXN digital plus, 2 meter and 440. It's a step above the 878. So nice handheld. I've tested it today, and it's really working quite well. The other thing is that we have a kind of a unique situation for the Inland Empire breakfast that I attended myself. We had a good attendance, a nice presentation. Was done by Evo that covered his recent trip to Belgium with an HF radio and the trials and tribulations of traveling to Turkey and other parts of the world, and getting his radio gear in and set up and talking to folks. So it was a nice presentation put on. The Inland Empire is now no longer having a breakfast. It's actually now just a meeting, and then after the meeting there's a brewery, microbrewery that you can go after the meeting and have lunch. But it's at the Redlands Airport, and it's a nice venue. Actually, I was pretty impressed. So if you're so inclined, pencil it in next month. I'm not sure who the speaker is going to be. We're trying to have a speaker there every month. That's it. Sorry for being long-winded, but those was some pretty important announcements. Back to net control, and thank you for acknowledging me. WD678, we'll be listening, Bob.
All right, Cecil. Well, as you know me pretty well, I've already actually corrected it. I'm not going to replay it, but we'll be ready for the next announcement for tomorrow night, I guess, on DMR. So, okay, that's good. Could be good news. Let's say it could be good news. Like you said, it might simplify things by not having the buffet thing ahead of time and all that. So, but thank you for that very much. And yeah, the Redlands thing sounds good. I mean, it sounds kind of like, you've got the meeting, concentrate on that. No, people are not eating and shoving food in their face while people are speaking or something like that. So you do your meeting and then go head out and have a burger across the way, and you're at the airport, for God's sakes. How bad can that be? Thank you, sir, very much. When the station manager comes in and says he needs to break in, we let him break in. All right, I think we'll continue on. Thank you, Cecil, so much. And we'll head over to Steve KI6LOV. Now, I'm handing you the microphone.
KI6LOV live. There's no AI here. All right, it's always a pleasure to hear Cecil anyway. So thanks, Bob. And it's always a pleasure to be here with my trail report. And I did head out for a day hike out to my cabin. I've not feeling the overnight thing these days. And part of the reason is it is really hot. And I did not see a lot of people on the trail yesterday, and I'm not surprised. But I did bring extra water and made sure, and before I hit the trail initially, I made sure and hydrated well. And it's always very beautiful, and I kind of like the heat anyway. But it was basically hike out, a little bit of a break, some sweeping up, a little raking, and hike back down to the car and drive back here to Santa Monica. I'm going to give just a quick little mention of Jackie, the Eagle, and the Ojai Raptor Center, but I'm going to keep it real short here, Bob. So for all the medical information, the Ojai Raptor Center is giving almost daily updates on their YouTube channel. And so I won't go into any of that right now. There's also a channel that has explanations in detail with a little bit of a simpler direction if you're not into medical or science things, and that's called Raptor Stories. And the young woman does a very good job explaining what's going on. There's a lot of schlock out there, so don't get sucked in by it. But the truth is, it's not looking good for Jackie. I remain hopeful, but it's a serious situation. And as I say, I don't want to talk too much about this now because I think Bob and I might be in some weeks upcoming having a special about the Big Bear Bald Eagle Cam story and Jackie and Shadow and all. So with that, send your best thoughts out there to Jackie, however you do it in your world, and make sure you check in to the Big Bear Bald Eagle Cam and give them clicks and a little bit of love there for the friends of Big Bear Valley. So with that, Bob, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to you for now. And hope you have a great net, and we'll talk real soon. This is KI6LOV730.
Okay, Ranger Steve, thank you so much. And I've been keeping up with some of the news, so we're just, like I said, hopeful. Let nature sort of take its course, I guess. And that would be a pleasure to do. If something, I would say, gets even worse than worse, we could maybe do a little tribute net to that great couple, the lovely couple. I know, it's sad. Okay, well, thank you, Steve, as always. Sounds good. Glad you made it up and back, in and out and back. One of those from the cabin this weekend and get back to Santa Monica, where it's probably a little bit cooler, although I know the higher elevation thing. Anyway, you know how that goes. W6CJX for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net. Tonight, I'm hoping Steve will stick around a little bit. We're going to do a topic. I don't have a 101. Not that I didn't want to do one. I just thought I'd give you guys a little break from the AI blabber. Just you'll have to listen to my blabber. Or blubber, one of the two. Anyway, tonight I wanted to do the topic of, do you remember your first knife? And do you remember who gave it to you? You get extra bonus points for that, because I kind of do. I remember approximately how old I was and who gave it to me. And if you didn't have that fortune of thing to happen to you, when did you first, or did you ever acquire it? I can't imagine that at least everyone on here hasn't owned some type of a pocket knife or a fixed blade knife or something, but I'm looking like, pocket knives from back in the old days, something like that. Would be kind of fun. Share some memories of that and other kind of knives you've had. And if you're a knife aficionado, then that's even better. We can hear all sorts of good things. Let's take a quick pause, and I'll come back and take some check-in. All right. If you guys are ready to check in, we'll take a few. Get a round or two going here and see where we go. We'll have some fun. W6CJX Net Control.
November 6th, November 6th, Hotel Alpha Lima.
Kilo Juliet 6, Golf Echo Uniform.
Kilo Delta 6.
Quebec Hotel.
Kilo Delta 6, Lima Bravo, Logan.
KI6LOV.
Kilo Oscar 6, Delta Golf X-Ray Rick.
K6UV.
Okay, let's see. A couple of them I didn't quite hear, but I did hear most everyone. Let me call off who I have, and then if I don't call you back right now, because I want to get everybody in that tried to get in the first round. Actually, I was going to ask for some new hams, so if you are a new ham, I'll pause for that maybe after I get these guys going. But it'd be nice to hear some new hams out there tonight, too. Okay, so far what I've got is Dale in 6AQQ. I think I had Adrian, KK6H&G, Hal, HAL. We got Bob, GEU. We got Ron, PQH. And let's see, Logan, LLB. We got Steve, KI6LOV. And Rick, KO6DGX. So anybody in that group, I didn't just call you back and you tried to get in, give us your call sign name one more time.
Kilo Oscar 6, Mike Romeo X-Ray.
Kilo 0, Whiskey Delta Golf.
K6UV.
Okay, I picked up MRX, COZ. So let's go to the top of the page and say hello to Dale in 6AQ. I'll put your call sign in there. That might help. And see what Dale's first knife. I mean, maybe, you can't run with scissors, but they didn't say you couldn't run with a knife. Welcome, Dale.
N682, good evening, Cecil, Bob, everybody else on the net. First knife was given to me by my parents. I asked for it for Christmas, and my parents got it for me. I think I was 12 years old. I might have been 9. It was 9 or 12. I'm 65 now, so I can't remember that far back. But they came from a nice store at South Coast Plaza, and it was my mind slips me with a brand. That's all I remember. 6AQ2.
Well, that's good. I mean, you remembered when you got your first knife. I think that's a kind of a, as, we'll say men or women go into adulthood, it's kind of like a knight getting his sword. Yeah, I know. It's a little different than that, but we can kind of pretend, right? And it was kind of that kind of thing going on. So, yeah, you don't forget one of those. You never forget your first knife or your bar mitzvah. All right, thank you, Dale. Let's say hello to Adrian.
And everybody on the net, this is Adrian, KK6HNG. And yes, my first knife, utility knife, if you want like that, because I guess you are not talking about, I don't know, the knife that your parents put on the table when you are having breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I guess you're not talking about that. So this was a kind of an interesting utility knife that was actually manufactured for me by a friend who was working in a factory with capabilities to do that kind of stuff, among a lot of other things. So why was it so weird? Because it was an actual knife, a pretty decent steel, with a relatively narrow and long blade, but strong. Well, when I say long, it was much more like, 10 inches or so, give or take, and a sharp tip. But what was very different is the way that thing worked. The handle was round, and it was screwed on the top of it, which is one piece. So then if you want to pack it safe, you would unscrew the knife from the handle and screw it back the other way around. Basically, the handle was hollow. It was like a tube. So that was a kind of unique type of knife, so to speak. Not sure whoever invented it, but sure enough, I have that knife somewhere around in my tools today as well. KK6HNG, back to net control.
Well, it's your duty to go find that knife because I think that's special. If you still have the knife, I mean, I still have my Engineer Bill train engineer hat from what is it, KCAL 9 or something back, Channel 9 cartoons back in the day. Someone posted that on a Facebook thing today, so I said, I still have my hat, which is what, you had to have back then when Engineer Bill was alive. Anyway, or he was on the air. It has nothing to do with knives, but I just found something that I thought I lost, and I still have it from my childhood. So that's awesome, really awesome story, and have someone to actually make it for you, and then have it detachable handle, and that is kind of neat. If you ever find that, I'm sure a few of us would like to see that, especially coming from old world type of situation there in Romania. And I have corrected your call sign to H&G. I know that. I get it confused with Frank's every once in a while. It just happens that way. Thank you, Adrian. And let's say hello to Hal in 6HAL. Good evening, Chief.
November 6th, Hotel Alpha Lima. Good evening, Bob. Thanks for hosting the net. Good subject matter. My first night, the one I can really remember, my dad me down to the store to get and I carried that faith sometime after the site. My dad was an electrician, and he had a boy. It wasn't one he had as a boy, but it was one he bought because he liked him. And he carried in his pocket every day, as I remember, putting pumps in. He always used that so much that one of the blades was about half, still happened to have that. And you mentioned Engineer Bill, Bob, and I remember it was a great show. I never had a hat, but I did milk with him and watched the cartoons, which I remember being Cecil and Beanie and the Little Rascals. That's my story. Back to Alpha Lima.
Well, there you go. How about Hobo Kelly? I saw that on Facebook the other day, too. They used to always, I wonder how she could see through, she would say, through that little magic mirror, whatever they call those things. She'd look through the looking glass thing and say, Jimmy, you have a present. It's in the dryer, and you'd go like it's your birthday. Your mom had put a present in the dryer. Anyway, we're getting off of the subject there, but it's kind of fun because we wouldn't normally talk about Engineer Bill or Hobo Kelly on an outdoor net, so I figured I could that'd be more of a Saturday night roundtable kind of thing. Very good, Hal. Well, and now that you mention Boy Scout knife, I guess I'll mention my first knife, and it was a Boy Scout knife, I think. I don't know if it had the official everything on it, but it had the spoon and the fork. I don't know if anybody remember those. It was black, and then two of the items that folded out was a spoon and a fork, which was on the outside of the. Anyway, it was I used that and used it as a can opener. I remember doing that, which is a hard way to open a can, really. But if it's you got cans and you need food, it works fine. So, yep, the good old Boy Scout knife. I love that thing and probably do have it somewhere. So but I've got so many other knives it really doesn't matter anymore. All right, well, thank you so much, Hal. And Bob, KJ6GEU, what's happening, Mr. Bob? Are you home early, or are you just already made it to Papa 1 or something? Sounds good. Come on in. The water's fine.
Good evening, Bob, and everyone else on the net. This is KJ6GEU. Bob, no, I am in the shack on Papa 1. Didn't have to make the drive to OC tonight, so no worries. Anyway, as far as knives, never been much of a knife person. I did do a short stint in the Boy Scout. I've had those little Swiss Army pocket knives going as far back as I can remember, so I'm pretty sure I had one then. I still have a couple of them lying around here now, but I never really, had knives for any other purpose. They do have little tools in them that are often useful, so I can always keep one in the car. About it there. God, yeah, I am embarrassed to admit that I am old enough to remember Engineer Bill and Hobo Kelly. Anyway, that's it, I guess. 73, so back to net control. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. KJ6GEU, back to net.
Oh boy, this is like bonus night tonight. You guys, that's great. Oh boy, yeah, I get the bells. Bells are going there. We'll just put the bells here. Another bells. They're free. And these are the electronic. These are the digital bells. They're not the little one that I use for. Anyway, yeah, I'm having more fun with the Engineer Bill. Engineer Bill and the Pobo Kelly thing, but it's just like a little side gig that we got going on here for tonight's Dead. It's all good. Great. Yeah, that's yeah. You know, I kind of was a knife person. I wasn't. I don't know. And then I met some gentlemen that few gentlemen that were really, really into knives. I won't mention any names because they're being protected by the Knife Witness Program. I don't know, something like that. But they definitely know who they are, and I don't regret any of it because I have some really cool knives. Not as cool as theirs, but for what I could afford. Anyway, thank you, Bob, and thanks for the good. Great, you didn't have to drive down there tonight. Good for you. Let's head out to see Ron in Virginia, KF4PQH. You got to have a good one for this. I think you do. Go ahead, Ron, and welcome.
Is KF4PQH coming in from Locust Grove, Virginia. And, yeah, I remember my first knife, Cub Scout knife, 3 blades. I guess you could call them blades. It was a cutting blade. Another blade that you could use to open up bottles and had a little screwdriver tip on it. And the other one was hooked so you could open up cans of beans. And I got that. I was about 8 years old. And in those days, when you had your Cub Scout den meetings, you could wear your uniform to school. We had a little clip on there, and you could clip the knife on it. And it was okay to carry it to school. You just couldn't play with it and touch it and fiddle around with it. Fixed blade knives, an electrician's knife. I don't know where I picked it up, somewhere along the way. Got a couple of Emersons, a couple of Benchmades. Nothing fancy though. I'm not one of these guys who go out and spend $300, $400, $500, $600 on a knife. I did find a fabulous buy one time, and it was a gift shop, consignment shop out in Montana, somewhere in a small town. It's about an 11-inch Damascus steel, and the price was just too good. I couldn't pass that puppy up. You guys talking about your old TV shows out there in the West Coast. So we had Officer Joel Bolton, and his theme song was the Whistler and his dog. You can Google that and listen to it. And I remember the Merry Mailman, Ray Heatherton, and you may know that name Heatherton because his daughter was Joey Heatherton. So in any event, my attitude is a person can't have enough flashlights, radios, knives, and guns. And I'm doing my best to keep the economy going. Everybody stay safe out there, 7-3, and find something kind to do for somebody. Back to Net Control, KF4PQH.
Well, there, it's a good one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I remember Joey Heatherton, if I'm remembering right. Anyway, we'll leave it at that, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, the knife things are fun. And I kind of put a limit on, but I did get into a couple really good knives, and they're fun. And I kind of just, they're kind of like, you take one out, and, today I'm going to wear my, I'm trying to think of all the different names, Benchmade or whatever. But, I've got some really good Chinese knives, too, that were made, but definitely the Benchmades and all the other great ones that are out there. But some of the real old-fashioned ones are neat, too. And a good place to find knives, I found out, not that I've been looking for any, but is at pawn shops. They definitely have a few in there, some really cool things, like certain, I don't know, was it abalone, mother-of-pearl handles, all kinds of kind of cool stuff. So, and they're not that expensive there. Thank you, Ron. Let's say hello to Logan, K86, LLB.
Good evening, Bob, and good evening, everybody out there. This is Logan, Kilo Delta 6, Lima Bravo. And yes, I definitely remember my first knife. When I'm not actually 100% certain how old I was. I have sort of guessed I was very young for a knife. Probably 5. But there's a possibility that I was younger. But whatever it was, 4.5 or 5.5. I was home or at my grandmother's house for Christmas with all my aunts and uncles on my mom's side and cousins, and I don't know who, probably my mom's side of the family gave me 2 gifts, and one of them was a Bowie knife, and I know it's a Bowie knife. In fact, I know it's the original Bowie knife because it says right on the blade, original Bowie knife. And it's about 10 inches long. It's about a 6-inch blade, and I was as happy as could be. And there's a funny story. So that was also the year that I got my first pair of walkie-talkies. And so I basically made out, I was just as happy as could be with my Christmas presents. And so I was playing with the walkie-talkies, and I had my knife and its little, its little, can't think of what scabbard, but whatever it is for a knife. Sheath, thank you. And my cousin and I were testing out the walkie-talkies, so I went in the other room and we tried them out and they worked. And then he asked, "Well, hey, can I see that knife of yours?" And I said, "Sure." And I took it out of the sheath and handed it to his little sister, my niece, Janice, who was pretty much a toddler. Safety wasn't something that anybody had gone over with me ever. And my to this day, my aunts and uncles will just laugh at the sight. I mean, the memory of seeing this toddler come running into the room with a 10-inch Bowie knife to hand to her brother. And so I didn't see that knife for another year after that, but still have it. And it's been used hard. I tried to learn to throw. It doesn't throw well. There are better knives for that. I've used it as a tool. I've heated it to glowing red hot hundreds of times whenever I needed to heat something, needed to melt something. But and it's the handle is held together by vintage electrical tape, but still have it. KD6LLB, back to net.
And I can verify that because I have a picture of it. It's it's who you know. You get net control, you get all these little extra benefits. That is so cool looking, and it does say original Bowie knife stamped into it, and it looks like the original Bowie knife. And he does have the vintage electrical tape around it. But as you described, like you used it, you heated it up to glowing red, and you've used that knife. Some of these new knives that everyone has, they don't even want to open an Amazon package with it, and I don't blame them. At $300 or $400 a knife, or $500 or $1,000 or $1,200, it just goes on forever. I wouldn't be opening Amazon either. Although they don't use tape, they use that other stuff. It's not quite as messy. Good job. Well, thank you so much. That's a great knife, and what a great story. Yeah, I can see you running out at that age, 5 years old, with a original Bowie knife. That's just like, oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. Well, that was a good visualization that goes along with the picture of the knife. Thank you, Logan. As always, a great contributor here to our net. Well, I'd like to, this is one of my culprits that has made me buy several knives. Not too many. He's been very conservative with it, and I've just liked a lot of his, so I thought, why not? I'll buy some. So I'll take a look. Let's say hello to KI6LOV. Steve, welcome back. What you got?
Okay, Bob. Well, what Bob didn't mention also is I've given him, I think, at least one knife, maybe more, just to kind of grease the wheels and get him going. But anyway, okay, my first knife story, and I sent Bob a photo of it, was when I was 10 years old, and that my father decided that was the time. And he took me down to Sears and Roebuck in Santa Monica. Keep in mind, this was in 1962. And we looked around, and he said, you can pick any of these pocket knives that you want for your birthday. So I found one, was a Barlow-style folding knife, friction folder, and it's a two-blade knife, and you're familiar with the kind of a pocket knife that has a larger clip point blade and then a small pin blade, and they both come out on the same end of the knife. But anyway, I was so proud of that, and I still have it to this day. And I also have on my right index finger a nice big scar, which was caused by that knife, probably the day after I got it. But I have one more story about the knife and something else to fill in, Bob. So one day I was at school, and I believe it was in the 3rd grade. Could have been the 4th grade, but I believe 3rd. And I was in class, and the teacher had this big box on her desk, and she was trying so hard with a pair of scissors to try to open this box. And I raised my hand, and I said, Miss whatever, I forget her name, but she was really pretty, and I was willing to help her out with anything. And I said, I can open that box for you because I have a knife. And she said, oh, Steve, come on up. And I opened that box for her, and I was the star of the show. Now tell me that wasn't a different world, okay? And then I have one more little parting shot here, Bob. We can never forget about Sheriff John and Captain Kangaroo as well. So with that, I'll give it back to you, Bob, and everyone have a great week, and we'll talk to you real soon. KI6LOV.
Now, how could I forget that? Those were my other two favorites, Sheriff John.
Put another candle on my birthday cake. We're gonna bake a birthday cake.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, for the knife. I didn't want to brag too much, but yeah, thank you. It was it's a really cool knife. It's kind of like one you would probably see or use. Let's say you were in the Alps somewhere and you've got some French wine and fruit and maybe some cheeses, and you'd be cutting it with that. I think that's kind of like what it was geared for, but maybe not. That's where my fantasy mind went to with the knife. I haven't tried it yet, but as far as going to the Alps, but I'm waiting for that trip to go back to the Alps. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, that's a great knife. Old, what was it again? Let me see. Get a little bit closer. Old Crafty. Yeah, it's an old Crafty, and it has the model number on it. He does have it. I see living proof. W6CJX for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net. Sunday evenings here at 8 p.m. Pacific on the mighty Papa System, all around the world, I think. Sometimes, some places. But we're going to head up, let's see, to Santa Ynez, one of our favorite locations up the Central Coast. Been there so many times, I practically called it home. Let's say hello to KO6DGX. Rick, well.
Hey, thank you so much, Bob. A fun one, as usual. They all are just about. And, okay, so real quick, so we could get to the next person. Well, my first functional knife was something called a Schrade Old Timer. It's kind of small, and it fits in your pocket when you're a little kid, so I probably had that when I was probably like 8 years old or something like that, and lasted a long time. And then, but actually, my very first knife came from the TV show Diver Dan, and it was like this, like stabbing type of jabbing knife that scuba divers like Diver Dan would use, but I know he was only in an aquarium, but it was plastic. So I don't know if you guys remember those knives, but it looked pretty lethal and stuff. It had a black handle, silver painted blade, but it was just like rubber, and you could stab your friends and it wouldn't hurt. And then, got to give a shout out though, Diver Dan, of course, but I haven't heard you guys call the Pancake Man's number. Don't know if that was Southern California, I'm pretty sure you guys should know the Pancake Man. One more time. Well, anyways, and a solid recognition for Sheriff John, but regarding Beanie and Cecil, guys, I actually had a chance to talk to Cecil, the Cecil, the kahuna, the El Jefe, the big guy. So I asked him, hey, Cecil, did you ever watch Beanie and Cecil? And he confirmed, yes, he did. As a kid growing up, he watched Beanie and Cecil, and I think he even said it was on KTTV. So With that, Bob, I'll send it back to you, KO6DJX.
Now I ask you, where else in the world would you hear the word knives and old cartoon hosting shows from the 60s on a net? Really? Where would you hear something like that? Yeah, Diver Dan. Okay. Yeah, ding, ding, ding. I got that one too. I put it down. Got it. Getting the list going here in case there's one or two we might forget. Didn't see Pancake Man unless well, there was also Romper Room, right? I guess, I don't know, is that going back too far or not far enough? I remember Romper Room. Let's say hello to Lou, W8LOU. Welcome, Lou.
Hey, thank you for having me, Bob. Long time no hear, no see. Hope you're doing well. My first knife was a buck knife, Cub Scout. My stepfather gave it to me with a nice, cool sheath. Remember those with the brass tips and the wooden handle? I still have it today in my collection, and still have the sheath, the actual leather sheath that came with it, the buck knife sheath. And I've got a lot of knives, from fixed blades to Spydercos to you name it. Recently bought a Colt steel knife at Big 5 for only $24.95. But I carry that around on my vest. It's got a little clip, a pocket clip. That's a cool knife. Colt Steel makes some really good stuff, and they're located in Ventura, by the way. But I've always been a fan of Spydercos. When I went to Japan recently, I went to Sekai City where they're made and saw where, some pretty cool knife stores and pretty cool swords and really neat stuff there in Sekai City. So it's pretty cool. So, yeah, that's it. That's about it. Other than that, just been out motorcycling and having a great time, and back to working out at Lost Hills and in Malibu and working lots of hours. So that's why you don't hear me or see me. See, I am a real magician. I disappeared. So with that, I did a good ride today. We rode all through Malibu and then into Ventura and over to Channel Islands, and then we stopped and ate at Seafret. They have some pretty good food there. So the whole club went, the Bad Boys Motorcycle Club. We had a great ride today. And with that, I'm a knife fanatic myself. I love knives. Love collecting them. And with that, I'll say 7-3. Thank you for having me, Bob. Whiskey 8, Lima Oscar Uniform.
Well, great to hear you, Lou. And yeah, it's been a while. I know you've been busy. At least I hope that's what you were doing. Just being busy. So that's good. Seafresh. I was just going to say, we used to go to Seafresh, and then it burnt down back in the day, and then they rebuilt it. It's over there where they used to have the old whale's tail. And they do have one up in Ojai. We've just never gone there. I don't know why. We should go sometime when we're camping and just, for a nice dinner out. And we're glamping anyway, so what's the difference? We're not roasting marshmallows every time. So, sounds good. Well, I'm glad you're still taking the bike out. It must have been a beautiful day for that, especially here by the coast. It's usually kind of beautiful. W6CJX for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net. We're over on the analog side so far. So we're all good. I can always jump back, but I'm kind of afraid to go back in that other pool. It's maybe invaded with sharks. Anyone else out there like to come in and talk about your first knife that you ever had, or any knife that you've ever had? Maybe it was a butter knife, like Adrian said on the table. That would have been most people's first knife. You can have a butter knife. What can he do? He can't hurt anyone. W6CJX Net Control. Please come now.
Kilo Oscar 6, Romeo X-ray, Jamie. Foxtrot, Victor, November, Jim, Cerritos.
KO6, COJ. Okay, I picked up 3 more. We've got KO6 MRX, Jamie, and I think that's from before too, so I apologize not coming back, but that was kind of like when all heck broke loose there for a minute, trying to reconfigure ourselves and head into our backup equipment. KE6FVN, and I got KO6COJ for Johnny on the Hill. Well, it's better than Johnny on the Spot. Okay, let's go up to Jamie, MRX.
Hi, this is Jamie, KO6MRX. Hello to Bob and all on the net. I do remember the first knife I owned, and the first knife that was given to me was a little Schrade that my mother gave me, not my dad, surprisingly, when I was about 12. But First one I bought, I was about 8, and it was $1.98. I saved my money, and it was a Camp King. It was a very inexpensive imitation of a Boy Scout knife, and it had a blade, a can opener, bottle opener, and I think a punch. And I long ago lost that knife, but I think actually stored away. I have the small Schrade my mother gave me, and I have a lot of knives as well, Benchmade's and Spyderco's and all that stuff. Probably too many. Since I got into the radio hobby, I stopped buying them, which is good. But thanks for having me on here, and back to net control. This is KO6 MRX. Thanks, Bob.
Well, isn't that the truth? You go kind of from one hobby to the next, and I've done that with way too many hobbies. Now it's into buying bass guitars. I don't know why, but I've ended up with a couple. Well, you can't help myself. There's just this stuff, beautiful, beautiful stuff out there, and I just want a part of it. So, and I'm enjoying the heck out of changing musical instruments, I should say, after all those years. All right, Jamie. Yeah, I understand. I haven't bought too many knives or radios. More radios lately than knives, but hey, there's always still time. Let's say hello to Jim, KE6FVN. Good evening, Jim, down in Cerritos.
Good evening, Bob, and everyone on the net. Kilo Echo 6 Foxtrot Victor November, Jim in Cerritos. The first knife I seem to remember having was part of a Leatherman multi-purpose tool when I was in the Navy. And I think I first learned of that multi-purpose tool when I was over in Sasebo, Japan. And I liked the tool. And learned while I was in the Army National Guard, one week in drill, someone asking about the MacGyver tool. Well, finding out the MacGyver tool I had was the Leatherman. Kilo Echo 6 Foxtrot Victor November.
Yeah, absolutely. I love my Leatherman. They're great. And I have two, and so I've been pretty good about not buying too many Leatherman, but I did get one recently that actually had replaceable blades, I guess the best way. So on your needle nose, as you pull it out, and it turns into a needle nose pair of pliers and a plier, you could turn some nuts with that thing. And behind that, it's got cutters, and the ones that are fixed, they're okay, I guess. And I don't think you can really sharpen them. So when I saw this one, it actually had removable blades that you could replace. And it was more of an actual wire cutter, zip tie cutter. You know, it really works good on zip ties, rose bushes, just about anything. I bought two extras, so they were so cheap. Two extra blades, replacement blades. So I've got them. I'll probably never find them when I need them, but I have them. I think they're in my knife box. I hope my knife case that has all my knives displayed. Thank you, Jim. Well, thank you for bringing up the Leatherman. I didn't even give that a thought, and that is truly an all-purpose knife, if there ever was one. There's all different kinds, and they are built to last. I've used one for work for many years, and you know how many times it saved me getting up off the floor, which I know you're supposed to get exercise, but getting up off the floor to go get like a needle nose plier or even a screwdriver or one of those things, and I just reach into my little belt clip thing there, and there's my Leatherman. So it saved me a little bit, a few times there. I love it. It was great. Thank you, Jim. Always good to hear you. Say hello to David, and let's see our good friend Johnny, KO6COJ. And yeah, the bass collection is still growing. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but I'm going to try to play them all at one time. Johnny, welcome.
Well, good evening, Bob and the group. This is Johnny, KO6COJ Mobile. Pocket knives. First pocket knife I ever got was for my 8th birthday. My uncle gave it to me, and it was an old-timer. It was rather unremarkable, but I thought it was the best thing ever back then. And since then, my uncle's been giving me Kershaw knives, and I like those a lot. Not a big knife collector fan, but certainly appreciated the ones that I got from my uncle. That's about it for me. Always good to hear you, Bob. Miss seeing you, man. And I'm offended that you bought more bases. Anyway, you'll have to apprise me of what you have now. KO6COJ, back to net control, 73 to the group.
Yeah, I'll share. I'll send you a picture. That way it's worth 1,000 words. And it's just, I don't know. I'm just having fun. I really am having fun. Anyway, I won't turn the net into a music net, but I just have so many different ways to play. I don't plan on playing with any band, so I don't want to get any ideas. I'm not that good and probably never will be, but I'm good enough for me, and I enjoy it. I have a really good ear for music, so I can play mostly by ear, but I know, I think. We'll see. All right, Johnny, thank you as always for coming in. Actually, the really, really, really first knife I think I remember getting was from my grandfather, Ray. He used to come up to, for those that didn't live there, Lake Hemet, and it's actually, we called it Hemet Lake. And we go fishing pretty much every weekend. And some weekends I just go off with my grandmother and mom because they bought me things. But anyway, fishing was always fun. And he gave me an old timer, if you guys remember old timer, and that just has kind of the bone look, kind of a bone color with the dark. They put little paint on it or whatever. They were cool. I probably have that somewhere. I don't know. I have my dad's little Swiss Army knife that he had too. I bought actually that for him for Christmas, and he used that thing so much. It's like you look at it now, but when he had passed, I acquired it from his stuff and put it in a special place because it is very, very special. W6CJX for the Papa System. Great Outdoor Net. We're talking knives. If your first knife encounter, it might have been a butter knife on the table there, but if not, if you had anything special happen in your life, an uncle or someone that gave you a hand-me-down, we'd love to hear about it. Let's see who else is out there at W6CJX, Net Control.
KO6, KHK, Bakersfield.
KO6, HRX, Gary in Wellington.
Kilo Charlie 6, Echo Sierra Whiskey, Martini Mobile, in Santa Clarita on Papa 1.
Dry or double?
Shaken, not stirred, 3 olives. Garlic stuff, by the way.
Yeah, garlic works. Keeps the vampires away. There was a KO6 call right in the very beginning that collided with Bakersfield. So Bakersfield stand by, and the KO6 call had an L somewhere in there. Come back.
Kilo Oscar 6, Hotel Romeo X-Ray, Gary in Wellington, Nevada.
I got you, Gary. This was someone right in the very beginning. The very first 2 people checked in. Okay, well, let's take the gentleman from Bakersfield. I don't think it's Aaron. I think it might be a different person. So, Bakersfield, please come back.
KO6, KHK, I think I was one of the first.
All right, yeah, it sounds like it was you. Steven. You're not Travis. Steven. I was thinking of a different area. Okay, well, let's go with what we have, and then we've got time, so we'll get some more. We'll start off with KO6, KHK. Phil? Is that where you got? Go ahead, Steven.
Hey, thanks for running the net there, Bob. Yeah, the QTH is Apple Valley, and yes, the name is Steven. My favorite pocket knife that I was gifted was a Leatherman multi-tool from one of my uncles, and I got into like wood whittling, like just carving out little pieces of wood, and this knife didn't have a lock on it, and it was probably 2 weeks of owning it. I was carving into a piece of wood, and the way I was holding the knife, my finger was, if you imagine where the knife folds into itself, I had my index finger on that portion, and then the blade snapped shut, and it opened my index finger all the way from the fingernail almost up to the top knuckle. So, learned the hard way, how to use a knife. And then in my older years, my go-to nowadays is a Buck 110. That's just my all-around purpose knife. It doesn't have no fancy tools. It's just a knife. And if we lived in other states, you can get a Buck 210, which is an automatic knife. You just push a button and it opens. But I digress. 2 knives, one with a story and one that I use daily. Thanks for running the net. KO6, KHK, back to net control.
Wow, great story and a couple great knives, definitely for sure. Yeah, well, you can get the 201 or 102 or whatever it was. I have a few autos, but I don't take them out too often. And then again, you know, you could take an auto out and deploy it without it snapping out like a switchblade. That you know, you just kind of hold the blade as you take it out, and someone thinks you're opening it. But either way, they were kind of fun to play with, at least around the house anyway. But that sounded very painful. Ouch. Yeah. There's a few times when I've been closing a knife and think, you know, that just grazed my little finger, the finger next to your pinky. Anyway, it's just like it could have just sliced a big chunk out of there, but it didn't. So I have to remind myself once in a while to be a little extra cautious. All right, well, thank you so much, and let's say hello to Gary. How's Gary in Nevada somewhere? Not Henderson. I was trying. You said it, but I forgot. HRX, welcome.
Thanks, Bob. You know, I don't remember the names of any of the knives, but I remember being about 13 years old, and that was in the mid-'60s. There was no age requirement. You can go into almost any store that sold knives and buy a knife. The only thing you couldn't buy was a switchblade. I believe 1958, the federal government shut down the concept of buying switchblade knives, and there was no length rules or laws. Now, again, I was born and raised in Chicago, and one of the things that I loved doing with a knife was playing mumbly peg. I believe that was implemented in the 17th century, and it did run through the 20th century. I played it with a lot of other guys, mumbly peg. There was a couple other games we would play where you stand there and you'd face one another, and you'd throw the knife at the other person's foot, and not too far away, and then they would have to stretch out and reach to get it, and kind of like Twister. And eventually somebody falls over and they would be a loser. As far as knives go, I still have a bunch of knives. I gave a bunch of knives away to my children, anywhere from closed ones to just straightforward, buck, you name it, cheapos. But during that time of playing mumbly peg and that, was going into the locations where I could purchase a knife and finding one that was pretty much balanced. You know, if you got like a Swiss Army or that, they're not good for playing mumbly peg or a lot of those things. They're just too heavy on the backside. You have to find that right knife that's got a lot of good balance to it. And if I remember correctly, those knives were about 4 inches overall opened up. I don't have much else to go along with that. No TV stories. There's just too many of them. So with this, I'm going to hand it back over to Net Control, KO6HRX.
All right, Gary. Well, that was cool. Yeah, there's some history there, and I remember bringing back a switchblade from Tijuana one time. You know, we bought one on the street somewhere, but it was one of the little tiny ones. You know, but it still was a switchblade. So I guess I was breaking the law at an early age. God knows where that thing is. Probably. I think my parents actually took it away from me. They were just afraid I was going to get hurt, or not that I would hurt someone else. I just, you know, going around, look, here's my switchblade, and flicking it at people. I think it only had like a 1-inch blade on it, so you probably couldn't have done too much damage with that. But that jogged a good memory there. All right, Gary, thank you. Let's say hello to Mike KC6ESW. What's going on, Mike? And let's see, we've got a shaken, not stirred, and 3 olives, and sounds good.
Yes, good evening. It is martini time. How are you? KC6ESW on Papa 1. Pocket knives. Well, for all you scouts out there, I was a Cub Scout back in the day, and there was that Cub Scout catalog, and also the magazine Boys Life, and that was where you found all that stuff in there. And of course, usually you'd earn enough points to get the knife for free, if I remember correctly. Don't know where it was, but I had that for a long time. It was a good little knife. Other than that, no knives other than the knives in the kitchen drawers. Which I don't use. I did have a Swiss Army watch, and used to be. I think it still is. If you get a Swiss Army watch, they give you a Swiss Army knife with it. It's kind of a package deal there. So, hey, back to you, and always a pleasure to check into the net here on Sunday nights. KC6ESW.
Well, it's great to hear you too there, Mike. And I know you do your podcast on Wednesday nights, so I don't know why you couldn't give a little plug to that, but he does a really great job on some young Okay, you just had so many people on your show. That's just so great. So, really enjoy those. When I get a chance to listen, and I do, I just say thank you for doing those, and for the young stars and things that are coming up, or musicians and everything. It's just a pretty amazing deal. So, thank you so much, Mike, for that. Let's see. I guess I'm out of. Let's take one little quick round, or whatever we got left. Anybody that got missed, please come. And if I didn't call you, please come back, and we'll wrap it up.
N6CUL Bakersfield.
KD7WR.
There's my Bakersfield guy. I knew you would be out there somewhere. Let's see. I think I got November, and I've got WD7. I think KD. I'm looking at the W at the other side. KD7W. I just really. Let's go over to Bakersfield N6CUL. Is that correct? And give us a name, and anything you have for the net would be great.
Yes, sir. The name here is Laramie. Calls N6CUL, located here in Bakersfield. My first knife would have been a Leatherman rebar that my parents gave me probably before I was 10 or so, and my dad had taken the straight edge on that multi-tool to a rock to dole it out so that I wouldn't cut myself as many times. It worked for a while till I learned how to sharpen it. I think my favorite knife, though, I've got a Benchmade here that I was given by my uncle that I really enjoy. And just finishing up a single glass of whiskey on the rocks. N6CUL, back to net.
Yeah, we've added drinks to our other section of the net of different fun cartoon shows, or at least cartoon host shows. I guess that's the best way to put that. Well, thank you, Laramie. Good to hear you. Don't be a stranger. You got a repeater out there in Bakersfield. When I did all my work in Bakersfield, I didn't. It was been nice to have. But I guess I can't go backwards, and I don't want to. But you can come here anytime you want. We're here every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. and talking about something in the great outdoors. So there you go. Let's say hello to, I believe, KD7 Whiskey Romeo Foxtrot. We'll take you as our last one, and then we'll call it a night for tonight. And unfortunately had a few technical difficulties even above and beyond what you guys heard. But, oh well, it's live radio. So go ahead with your commentary.
Greetings all. I am Wayne, and the call is Kilo Delta 7 Whiskey Romeo Mike visiting. Just happened to be perusing the frequencies, and interesting topic. I was gifted at about 13 by my uncle on my mother's side a Case XX pocket knife, three blades, and not stainless. I forget what it was. I carried that until I broke one of the blades, and I've had several knives since. I have most of them still because they've been stainless, and I don't like sharpening stainless, so I tend to just use a knife until it's dull and get another one. For work, I carry a SOG Flash 2 daily, and currently I'm carrying a Kershaw. That's about all I have. Thank you much. Enjoyed the topic. KD7WR.
All right. That sounds great, Wayne. I got you corrected as KD7WRN. And, yeah, that was definitely... I like Kershaws. I have a few. It was like maybe one of my first semi-real knife, I guess you'd call, other than... Yeah. I got them at Big Five when they were on sale. They'd always put like a few of them. I've got one here next to me that's a stainless steel model. I don't know the name, the model of it. But anyway, it's a Kershaw, and it's all stainless. It's just a R.J. Martin design. I guess that's what they go by. But even the lock, the blade lock, is part of the housing, which I thought was kind of cool, as opposed to other ways of locking it in place. But it does have a flicker on the back and a thumb stud, so you can do either one. I just prefer the flicker there, and it's a really nice knife. So hopefully, if it's all stainless, it'll last forever. Be able to pass it down to somebody. I don't have a son, just a daughter. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for checking in tonight. Yeah, unfortunately, we had way too many little things go wrong, including me. So we are not able to have this as a recorded archive, unfortunately. Something on my end went wrong. And even though I have a backup of a backup, none of those were working. So a big thanks to Logan, KD6LLB, for able to get this off of Broadcastify, which it's always recorded on, and we are able to give you a archive podcast. Let you know, I know it's not going to be that big a deal tomorrow, so I will have tomorrow morning off, and I won't be doing any editing, because there's nothing I can edit. So I will crawl back into my little cave, and we'll try to make this a much better net next week. I want to thank the Papa System for allowing to have all the nets on the Papa System, and they are all great. This one's just called the Great Outdoor Net, but they're all great nets. 7 days a week, in fact, 2 on Tuesday. We've got 2 Net Tuesdays, D25 and D-Star. And, of course, thank you everyone that works behind the scenes, or the Papa technical team that gets everything, keeps everything running. It's not an easy job with over 85 repeaters. That's a lot. And, of course, all the rest of the net controllers out there. Okay, I'm rambling. I'm going to get out of here and close the net at 21:24 and say 7-3. Everyone have a great night. 7-3 W6CJX clear and returning the repeaters back to normal amateur use.